The Singing Ringing Tree was an East German fairy story made in 1957, but I see so many postings online about it and how it gave kids nightmares for years after watching it. Now, I've got to be honest, I've never seen it. I've only heard of it from tales of how scary it was. So, is it really that scary? Does it deserve a reputation of a TV series that will scare kids and remain with them long into their adult lives? Let's have a look. The Singing Ringing Tree is a dark fantasy fairy tale based on The Dwarf, the Fox and the Princess, one of the fairy tales by the Brothers Grimm. A spoilt and arrogant princess refuses to marry the prince unless he brings her the magical Singing Ringing Tree, a mysterious tree said to make beautiful music. The brave prince sets out to find it, but an evil dwarf says it will only sing when the princess truly loves him. If it doesn't, he will transform into a bear. She rejects him and he becomes the bear. Later, he takes her from a castle and holds her prisoner until the princess gradually learns kindness, empathy and humility. With the help of the animals she befriended, including a giant goldfish, she defeats the dwarf and the bear becomes a prince again. And finally, the tree rings. The Singing Ringing Tree was produced in Brandenburg in East Germany in 1957. It was originally a cinematic release, selling just under 6 million tickets, which isn't bad for a country of only 17 million people. We got to see it because the BBC bought the film, edited it into 3 parts, and added a narration in good BBC English. It was first broadcast on BBC in November and December of 1964 as part of the Tales from Europe series. It was then repeated in March 1966, November 1969, October 1971, September 1976, April 1977 and August 1980, and I still managed to miss it. This was the first of many foreign language TV series that the BBC imported and repackaged for children's TV. And like so many of those, Robinson Crusoe, The Flashing Blade, etc., they've been indelibly etched into our memories.
Look at me, you stupid bear.
You know, I really didn't know what to expect from The Singing Ringing Tree, so it was with much anticipation that I pushed the disc into the DVD player and sat down to watch it. And, well, look, I've never done drugs. I've always lived a clean, healthy and boring life. However, if I wanted to know what doing bad drugs was like, well, this is it. The colours are just so vibrant, maybe too vibrant. The sets were about as cheap as you could get. The story is your typical fairy story. I'm sure we've all read versions of this at some stage in our lives. The special effects on makeup are very crude and very early, and about as cheap as the backgrounds. And in many respects, it's charming, it really is. I've seen this quoted as one of the most frightening things ever shown on children's television. In 2004, a Radio Times readers poll put this as the 20th most spooky TV show ever. And I'm sorry, I just don't see it. Maybe I'm looking at it with adult eyes, but I've never had this problem with any of the other series I've watched before. I don't quite know what to say. So where can you watch it? Well, The Singing Ringing Tree has been fortunate compared to many kids' TV shows, probably because it's German and had a cinematic release. It's been released on VHS, DVD and Blu-ray, as well as many streaming services. It's pretty easy to get hold of, so if you want to purchase it, have a look and see what you think. The Haughty Princess was played by Christelle Bodenstein. By the time of recording The Singing Ringing Tree, she was already a successful ballet dancer who turned to television and film. At the age of 19, she did The Singing Ringing Tree, her most known work outside of Germany. She died in 2024, aged 86. The Prince was played by Eckhard Dux, who starred in many German movies and TV series. He was also famous for dubbing films from Hollywood, as well as other countries, into German. Actors such as Anthony Perkins, Steve Martin, Fred Astaire were all voiced by Eckhard Dux. He even voiced David Jason's role of Rincewind in the German version of The Colour of Magic. He died also in 2024, aged 97. The English voiceover was done by Anthony Bilbo, a British television interviewer and screenwriter who wrote, among other things, the series Police Sir and its spin-off The Fen Street Gang. As of the making of this video, he's still with us today, aged 97. Now, this is totally unconnected to the TV series, but I have to mention it anyway. If you were to take a trip to deepest, darkest Lancashire, just outside of Burnley, there's a wind-powered sound sculpture called the Singing Ringing Tree. Shaped like a windswept tree, it's a 3-metre tall sculpture made of galvanised steel pipes, which when the wind blows, makes a haunting and unnerving sound. I really wanted to find the Singing Ringing Tree scary, but I just didn't. I thought about it while lying in bed one night. It's a colourful production, how could it be scary? And then it hit me. 1964, 1966, 69, 71, 76, 77 and 1980. And I thought back to my parents, and I don't think we got a colour TV until the late 1970s. Of course, what everyone watched during their childhood wasn't a vibrant colour 720 1080p Blu-ray production. It was black and white, broadcast and watched on small TVs with poor quality pictures. It was potentially more like an old black and white Doctor Who than anything else. So that's it. That's what you saw. That's what was scary. Sorted. So should you buy it? Well, if you want to watch something scary from your childhood, potentially no. It won't give you nightmares, and it probably won't give your own kids nightmares either. Is it nostalgic? Yes, and for that reason alone, it's worth a watch, along with all the other foreign language TV series we watched as a kid. Until next time, goodbye.